Hello guys, welcome to WebBiz. In this video I'll be talking about how to deploy an Express API with a React app on Heroku. So in case you don't know, Heroku is a platform as a service that you ship your code to them and they will host your service to them. That's what platform as a service means. So we'll be creating an Express API and a React app. So a couple of things you would need to have installed on your system is Node. You need to have Node installed, and if you don't have Node installed on your system, you can just go search how to install Node.js on your system. Then I'll be making use of Visual Studio Code as my default editor. Of course, you can make use of any editor you like. Then you would also need an Heroku account. Of course, if you don't have one, it's free to create one. It's pretty easy, just like you're creating any other account. So the first thing we'll be doing is to create a React app using the npx create React app. I'll name this front, representing the front end. So we'll run this command. It's going to take a couple of minutes. So I'll pause the video and I'll be back. So the installation is done. So I'll be seeding into the front. I'll seed into the front folder which we created with the npx create React app. As you can see, React app is installed. So to confirm that, we can just run npm start. So we're waiting for the server to start up. So the server has started already. So we can go to localhost 3000 here in our browser. Yep, which confirms the React is successfully installed. So I would not be making any modifications to this page. All I will just do is to run npm run build, which will provide to us a production build, and then we would set up our Express in such a way that it will point to the build file from React. So we are back to the editor now. So what I'll do is to cd out of this front end folder. So we can now initialize the Express API here. So what I did initially was I just created the deploy b folder and cd into the deploy b folder and ran npx create React app to create the front end project in the deploy b folder. Now later in the video I will be explaining why we had to do it in this way. So but then we can now go ahead and set up our Express app. Now to set up the Express app, we need to run npm init to initialize the project -y. So okay, once this is done, we can now go ahead and install Express. I will not be needing any other package for now. So we do this. Installation of Express is done. So what I'll be doing is to I'll be creating an index.js file right in the root folder of deploy b, not in the front end again, simply in the root folder. So right here we'll bring Express in. We'll bring Express in and require Express. Then we can say const app. This is the trivial thing if you've been building Express APIs. And then we can set up our port. So we will either use process. Now we are using process.env because Heroku, the platform as a service that will be shipping our code to host this application for us, will be giving us this port number from their environmental variables. So we don't need to provide this when deploying the application. So we are saying either if this is available as it is during production, or if we are in development, we have port 3000. So then we say app.listing on port, and we pass a callback here to confirm the server is connected, and console log the port, or simply this server is running on, then this. So now we can go ahead and start testing up this API. So I'll simply create a simple get request to any root, and then request response object, and simply send this a message with hello. So we simply test this by running node index.js. Say we have our server is running on 3000, which is what we created as a callback. So we head to the browser now. We are now in the browser, so we simply refresh this and we can confirm the API is working as we expected. So now we've confirmed the Express app is working as expected. So what we'll be doing now is we'll create a route which will serve the build folder from this React app. That is, when we run npm run build, right, we get a build folder in this front folder. We get a build folder here, and so we simply point to this folder here from the index.js file rather in the Express app. So what we'll be doing is we'll create a route that will point to that folder, that will serve that folder, and then to do that we'll be using app.get, a get request to any route. So what this asterisk is telling us is once we hit any route at all, we'll serve this folder. And the way Express works normally is it's once whatever route it hits first that matches the URL, that is what will be served. So if it doesn't hit /API, that's it, we have any other apart from /API, it will definitely serve this. So come here, write this here to serve this function. So but before going further, I'll bring in the path module. Now this is given to us automatically by Node. We don't need to install any package to have this. Require path. So I'll cut this out and simply bring it on top. So now what I want to show, I want to console log this. Now this is a unique name that is given to us by Node. It is 2 underscores then name. Now this will give us a point to give us the absolute path to this directly. Let me restart the server so you see what I'm saying. So now you see we have users A, desktop, V project, and deploy B, and that's the folder, the absolute path to this folder. So as we've already seen, this name gives us the absolute path to this folder. So but this is not where we want to actually point to. We want to point to a build folder which we will get after we run npm build on this front end, which we'll be doing in a minute. So this is where path.join comes in. So to have path.join, we simply call path.join. Now you can read a lot on path.join, but what it basically does is to combine various parts of a URL and gives us an absolute path where we want to point to. So we already know that name gives us this, so we simply pass into this here. We simply pass because we want to go to the front folder, front, comma, and to the build which we would have later on. So this is what we want to have at the end. So to test this out, I will simply save, close the server, and run it again. And now you can see it's already pointed to the build folder. Now we have to do it this way because remember, we're actually going to give Heroku, the platform as a service that is going to serve this website, this application for us. We're going to give them this application to serve. So we don't know how their absolute path would look like. So that's why we have to point to the absolute path to this here. And so since we've gotten that already, we can simply create a constant here and call it home and call it React build, right? Since it's pointed to React build, and paste this here, right? Since it's going to point to React build, and save it on this constant, and so we can reuse this constant in this route. So the next thing we need to do now is to make Express aware of this build folder in the that will live on this front directory. So we do this by calling app.use and passing into app.use express.static and pass. And since we already have the path built here, thanks to path.join, we simply pass in React build. So with this, Express will be aware of this folder, and then we can serve it from this route. Now before we go further, what I would want to do is to simply build this React app now. So we simply cd into front and run npm run build to get the build folder that we'll be talking of right here. So the build is running now. So now build has completed. So the next thing we'll do is we cd this back out. Now the question now becomes, how do we actually serve the index.html file from this build, because this is what is actually going to be served if we are to run this normally. So what we need to do now is use res, and Express provides us a way of sending files using the send file method, and what this is the path to the file actually. So since we've made this static already, we can't call this as this React build because we'll simply just be pointing to the folder, but rather we want to point to the index.html file. So we call again path.join, and then we have the path already constructed to this build folder, so we simply call React build, and again we want to go into index.html. So this will do the job. So now I think we can test this out. So but then I want you to remember that anything apart, the way Express works normally is anything apart from /API is going to load this wildcard here. So by simply running node index and then heading to the browser, you can see this already loaded, localhost 3000, and then it's loading this as we expect, and /anything, so that in case we have an actual functioning React app with routes set up in the React app, we can actually navigate to different routes. Since everything is working as expected, so I think the next thing to do now will be to prepare for deployment. And now, as I mentioned, I will be making use of Heroku, a platform as a service, so to be hosting the application. So you go to heroku.com, and the next thing you need to sign up, and signing up is free of charge. You don't need even to provide your ATM details. So for you, if you don't have an account, you simply come to sign up. But since I already have an account, I'll simply log in. After logging in, you'll be greeted with your dashboard, and this is my dashboard. I have a couple of apps running already. So the next thing here is to click here and create a new app. And now we create an app. Now in creation of the app, the name you pick for your app has to be unique. That the name must not have been used before by any user of Heroku. So you get creative here. So I'm going to use upload, let's call it MERN here. Okay, this is because someone has, okay, maybe upload express. Okay, so this is available, and then this region you can just leave it with the default. With default you can paste between Europe and United States. So I'm going to leave it as United States and then create app. So upon the creation of the app, you have an instruction of how you can upload. There are a couple of ways of doing this. You can use you can connect to your GitHub repo, and upon push to your repository, to any repository that you connect this application to, it will automatically pull from the repo and update the application, which I think is cool. So, and then you could also use the Heroku command line interface. So we'll be making use of Heroku command line interface here, and then the instruction is also listed here on the website, I think. Oh yeah, so we have installed the Heroku CLI first. So to install, we simply come here and we have an instruction for installation. So depending on your operating system, you can simply follow the installation procedure. I think it's very easy, it's not difficult at all. So upon installation, then also you would also need to have Git, although you don't need to have any knowledge of Git before going through this video, but then just at least the basics of initializing a Git project for version control. So you install Git, you can simply Google how to install Git on your system and then simply follow these instructions. So we'll head back to Visual Studio Code now. So now back in Visual Studio Code, we can start preparing the application for deployment. And so to do this, the first thing I'll be doing is to initialize Git. Now I'm running Git init, and I'm going to be initializing the Git in the root folder, not in the front folder. So you need to be in your actual root folder of this project. So Git init, which it has done that here. And then another thing is, normally when you install React app with the create React app, it normally initializes Git on it. So I think we'll just delete this from here. You can also delete your Git. If it's hidden, you can delete it from your actual folder, from your files here. So the next thing is I think we don't need node modules. Automatically Heroku will install the node modules for us. So we can simply create a git ignore file here. Git ignore here, and simply add node modules. So it has agreed out the node modules in the front and also at at the back end, at the API, the Express app here. So we follow through with the browser on the instructions. So I think the next thing is run Heroku login. So we come here and Heroku login. Now I'm already logged in, so you simply press any button on your keyboard and the browser will pop open on your PC, and once it does that, you can log in with your username and password. So since I'm logged in, you can see it shows login done. So on completion of the login, we go back to Heroku and follow through with the instruction. Now we've already initialized the project, and the next thing now is to add a remote. So we paste the command here that we copied from the browser, this. Okay, and now the remote is already initialized. Now the next thing to do is before we start running other commands. So remember, once we ship this to Heroku automatically, they automatically detect that this is a node application. So they automatically run npm install, and once they run npm install, they will also have these node modules installed on their own server. Now remember, we have a front React app which we have to run npm install to in the front React app, and we have to run npm build to get this build folder, because we would not be shipping this build folder to Heroku, so we can even delete it from here, because automatically Heroku should be able to build this for us. And then this one cool thing about Heroku, we just have a single line. We'll copy from, I'll copy this for single line from here now, and simply paste it right here in the script folder. Now what this command is simply telling you, this is Heroku post build. So once you ship this application to Heroku automatically, it will automatically see this script right here and run this, and the first thing it will run is npm install -- prefix front. So it's going to cd into front and run npm install. So it's just like we come to cd front and run npm install, which I will not do so here. I'm pressing. So this is what this command do, and then we say this ampersand twice. It's going to say, and then run npm build prefix front, also run build on this front folder. So thanks to this Heroku post build script, this can be possible, so you don't need to ship your build folder with your application. So all you just need to do most times, just once you have changes to make on your application, you just push the code to Heroku. So upon add this, so Heroku also needs a start script. You need a start script, so you simply run and start here and run node index.js. So now back to the browser, we've added the remote successfully. Now the next is to add our code and commit the code and then push the code to this branch master. But now if you're using an older version of Git, the default branch will definitely be master, but with the latest version it's going to be main. Git initially changed that, they've changed the default branch from master to main. So Heroku also provide a cool documentation for changing your default branch. You can follow through with the instructions here. So but if you have the latest version of Git installed, you should be done. And if you're using a code editor like Visual Studio Code, you can see the default branch here, which is main. So this is automatically enough. We don't need to do anything apart from add our code and commit and push to Heroku. So now we run git add, and then we commit the code with a message of I'll call this first, and then we are done. So if we go back to the next thing is to simply run git push Heroku and then the main branch, which we have as our default here. And then upon pushing this, you can see this is Heroku responding to the push. Now you can see it's installing the modules from here, installing the node modules, and then it follows the script, this post script we posted. And then we head to the browser and we simply refresh this page, or come to activity. You can see build in progress. Now from the command line we can see that the build has completed, and if we head back to the browser, You can see build complete, hopefully everything. So now to see your application deployed, you simply come to this place and click on open app. Hopefully everything went as we planned, and yes, it did. As you can see, we are serving the lookup from this URL from the application which we created. And now you can see why you need to select a unique name while creating your application, because this is what will be used as the URL for your application. So hopefully this makes sense. And then now on a final note, we've successfully deployed the application on Heroku and it's functioning. Now what I would mention now is, one might be tempted to ask, why must we have this structure? Why can't we have a structure where we just have front and we have, let's say, back here? Why can't we do this? Well, because remember what I said earlier, Heroku automatically detects this app is a Node app simply because of the structure, because we have this package. Once it says package.json, it knows that this is definitely going to be a Node application. And normally once you have a Node application, you run npm install and npm start. So that is why we have to follow this pattern of having our API here, and then we run nps create our app and created the front folder here. So that's all, guys. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, you can leave in the comment box, and hopefully this video made your life easier as a developer. Thanks for watching. So I would appreciate them if you can just simply subscribe to my channel for more interesting content, and leave likes and comment and recommend these videos to others. Thanks for watching.